from the Crypt.
Welcome, Crypt fans, to the Cryptique Podcast. My name's Kenny, and I'm here with my good friend Godden, and together we're here to watch and review every horrific and often hilarious episode of the legendary HBO anthology series, Tales from the Crypt. And here we are at the finale of season 1. Well, we finished talking about the finale of season 1. Now it's our turn to do the finale of season 1. So Godden and I are here together to do a ranking of all of the episodes. Godden, how are you this morning?
Doing well. Haven't had breakfast yet, but this will be my breakfast, is the rankings.
Chew on this.
How about yours?
My morning's going well. Yeah, I did eat breakfast. I had my breakfast. I'm a man of routine. Toast with peanut butter on it. Okay, I'm a peanut butter toast kind of a guy, and coffee. That's my daily routine. There you go. There you have it.
I'm gonna copy that routine.
Here we are. We're here to rank and tally up the scores for all of season 1. But before we get there, I did want to mention one more time, spoiler warning, if you haven't seen these episodes, we're going to be talking not in as depth, but, you know, enough to ruin the twist if you haven't watched these episodes yet. So get a chance to watch these before you watch the review. And also watch the rest of our episodes. You get a more in-depth discussion to our thoughts on these episodes. So before we get into it, your general thoughts on the season. How did you like the season?
It's kind of tough because I think there's only one episode I didn't like as much, and the rest were solid or really good for me. So I think it's a strong, start of the season. And I like how the first 3 episodes are just all, flushed in one night. They just had it as one premiere. So I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. My biggest complaint about the season is it was too short. It was a great season. It was, like you said, there was like one episode that I did not like. One episode out of this entire season I would not want to watch again. One episode I would watch again, but only if I had to, and everything else I would be happily willing to be watching again. So I thought it was a really good season, a great start. A little short, but 6 episode season isn't that rare, especially nowadays. But back then it was. So I guess in the time of the late 80s, early 90s, a 6 episode season is a bit short. So it could have been a little longer, but well, let's go through each of the episodes, give a brief recap of each episode, and then if there's anything else we want to add that we didn't talk about the first time through, maybe it would be a good point to bring that up. So okay. Season 1, episode 1, The Man Who Was Death. This is the one with Niles. Niles was the executioner who lost his job because the state took away the death penalty. So he took it upon himself to go about killing people who he deemed to be criminals. And eventually he's caught. The ironic twist from there is that capital punishment has been reinstated, and then he gets the chair himself. So that was a twist on that one. Altogether, I thought this was a good episode. This was a relatively strong start. Not necessarily where I would have started, but I thought it was a strong start nonetheless. I thought Niles was a really sadistic killer. Really, really chilling quotes from him talking about, I'd hate to think it was true that being killed by electricity was painless. He really wanted to inflict pain and on other people. So that was kind of a really gross depiction of him. I also thought he was a relatively thoughtful villain. He had some really good quotes, some really great one-liners throughout the entire episode. Worth watching just for his dialogues. What did you think about the episode? What did you like about the episode? Let's start there.
So I'd say it was a simple episode, and it was just one of those episodes that really showcases what kind of show this is in the atmosphere, where we are just in for the ride with the villain, and it's just hard to empathize with the villain as well. It's just we don't know who we like or who we don't like, but we're just stuck with knowing how the story is just gonna be played out, knowing we're just with the villain the whole time.
Yeah, it does set the premise for the show up right away. Our main characters are going to be villainous or evil or sinful in some sort of way. So it really sets the standard right off the bat of that the people we're going to be following are not necessarily the good guys or the people that you should be rooting for. Something else I like about this episode that I forgot to mention was I thought the twist was okay. The twist was pretty good here. It comes full circle. I thought was a pretty interesting twist. So I thought the twist was okay. The bads. What I did not like about this episode, it wasn't very scary and it wasn't very gory. I would have liked more of that being part of the episode. I thought maybe if some of his victims fought back or tried to run and hide from him, that would have kind of forced Niles to be more like a stalker and kind of chase down his victims. I thought that could have added a lot more tension to the episode because the episode was pretty straightforward. You know, we get introduced to this character, they're bad, in comes Niles to electrocute them next. I would have liked a little more cat and mouse out of it. I think that would have made it a little more exciting. Now on to some of our comments that we've gotten since the episode 1. Our friend eChair on YouTube says, Niles was told that the death penalty had been reinstated after his arrest, but in reality, it might not have been. His actions were a violation of the law and a serious scandal that disgraced the state. The prison warden and higher-ups may have decided to execute secretly to avoid this scandal. Ooh, that's interesting to me. So yeah, that's very true. That maybe to kind of try to sweep this whole ordeal under the rug, they might have just pulled that lever one more time just to kind of get rid of Niles and everything that he was up to. So that's a good little bit of sleuthing there, eChair. I like that. I like that. Okay, so that was episode 1. Episode 2, All Through the House. This is the one where the wife kills the husband to go be with her new lover, and at the same time, a mentally deranged serial killer escapes from the local institution dressed as a Santa Claus, and he's out to kill. This was a great episode. We both gave it a 5, so it's no secret that we both liked it. I thought this had a great premise. It's a great way to start the season off. Had a really good twist at the end because the whole time you're worried that the girl's gonna, that little daughter is gonna have something happen to her, and she ends up being the one letting him in. I thought that was kind of a good twist, a kind of good turn of fate for that whole thing. The pacing was fantastic. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about this episode?
I mean, you're hitting all the notes, really. It is a pretty fun episode. Like, everything about it was just like, yeah, this is Tales from the Crypt. Like, I'm glad this was part of the bundle of the first, 3 episodes, because I wasn't like that much of a fan of the first one, but this episode really just brought me back. Like, yep, this is what I'm in for.
Yeah, if you're watching this at home in 1989 as the season premiere, the first episode might go through. You either like it or don't like it, or maybe you're in between, right? You could be pretty wishy-washy about it. This episode, I don't see many people in the middle on this episode. This is a powerhouse episode right here. Yeah, this is a great episode. This absolutely would have your attention at this point. One thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the episode the first time is how similar it was to Silent Night, Deadly Night. I never brought that up, and I feel bad about it because I was thinking about it going into the episode, and then when we recorded, I forgot to mention it. So I just want to point out that yes, I have seen and am very familiar with Silent Night, Deadly Night with the Killer Santa Claus. There's definitely some overlap going on. So as far as bad qualities of the episode, I really racked my brain about this. I'm going to go out and say it, Godden. I think this is a flawless episode. Can you think of anything bad about this episode?
Yeah, it's too short. No, honestly, it's hard to like nitpick it. Really, like it's like, what is there to nitpick about the episode, right? Like maybe change the cast. Like that's it. Like change who you want playing as who. That's all I can think of. But other than that, it's a pretty strong episode, like just by itself. So
yeah, and you mentioned being too short. On one hand, I agree. I would have liked more of this episode, but on the other hand, maybe you really do want to leave them wanting more. Maybe it's good that we're left wanting more. Maybe that's another part of what makes this episode so good. So, oh, and something else we never touched on in this episode is the idea of Santa Claus, punishing naughty children, or punishing people who are naughty. And in this case, she kills her husband, very naughty, right? And then she's punished by Santa Claus, which I think is a fitting kind of a little theme in there that we didn't really touch on during our during our first discussion. So I just wanted to mention that.
I see.
All right, episode 3, Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. This is the one with Ulrich, the Undying, who takes a piece of a cat, giving him the cat's 9 lives, and he uses that as kind of a circus sideshow act to die and then be resurrected and then make money off of that. But he miscounts his lives. He didn't realize that the cat dying the first time to give him the power was the first death. And that was the twist. And I'm going to go out and say, I think this is the best twist of the season. This is an episode that I watched when I was a kid, and it's always stuck with me. The twist at the very end has always stuck with me as being a great revelation in the episode. So this twist, I think, is probably one of the more heavy hitters in the entire all of Tales from the Crypt. I've always liked this twist. It was a great twist, great premise, and a great twist on this episode. Anything you wanted to add about the episode, or anything that you particularly enjoyed about the episode? This
is part of the 3 bundle, right? For the premiere.
Sir, yeah.
I do like this episode. I like how the first one's a little simple and serious, and then the second one gets more, more grotesque in a way, a little more serious, and the third one gets more like silly. I like how it just instantly it gets more comedic at that point, and I don't know. I enjoy it. Like the pacing of this one. I like the dialogue a lot more, because the first one was like a lot of narration, and I know this one had it as well, but the interactions with other characters just stood out way more than the first episode for me. And I don't know, it's just a fun episode, realistically. Like, it's just so much is happening. And then I can always like think about one of my favorite parts was when the dad and son go and shoot the arrow, and then that whole interaction, it always sticks with me. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it's just so fun. It just makes me like smile every time I watch this episode.
Yeah, come on, son, I've been killing people for years. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up. The first 3 episodes all being together. The first one is very, very gritty, almost like a crime suspense story. The second one is that very slasher story. And the second one had a lot more funny moments than the first one. The first one was kind of very serious. It didn't have a lot of levity in it. The second one had a lot of comedy in it, but none of the characters were necessarily funny. It was just funny moments. The third one, we had like legit comedy. We had over the top characters. We had that very caricature like love interest. Coralie, was that her name?
Yeah, Coralie.
Yeah, she was just absolutely hilarious. So just funny characters, funny situations. It was a lot more fun of an episode. I liked it a lot as well. If I had to give it some criticism, it wasn't scary. It kind of went along its way, and that was that. It was just an interesting situation, a fun situation to watch unfold, but it really wasn't scary. There were a few moments where it was a dark and stormy time, and there are kind of some underlying things that might be kind of scary, but it really wasn't a very scary episode. I would have liked a little more heightened stakes, I suppose.
You would want that. You always yearn for that.
And we did have a listener comment since we posted the episode. eChair again writes, I couldn't help but wonder what would happen if his entire body were set on fire. I never think about that. That would be interesting to see. Would it heal, or would he just be like a crispy dude?
I think he'd be a crispy dude, because it's just him surviving. He doesn't have a healing factor like an X-Men, right? It's just like he just survives.
Right, he just survives. He'd just be burnt to a crisp. I'm getting visions of the end of Child's Play 1. Remember, after he comes out of the fireplace? He's just walking slowly, all burnt to a crisp. I'm imagining that.
Or he'd be wrapped up in bandages, and he'd be like the Mummy or something.
Oh, right.
Like his whole shtick would change to that until his skin would heal. And it might heal probably faster, but not that fast.
Right. All laced up in bandages, like the Invisible Man, or even Dark Man, or something like that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Episode 4, Only Sin Deep. This followed, oh gosh, what was her name? Sylvia Vane. Sylvia Vane gives her beauty to a pawn shop and for $10,000, and she uses that money to entice a rich man and lives in the lap of luxury for how long was it? Was it 6 months or 3 months, or it was 4 months, right?
It was 4 months.
It was 4 months, and after 4 months, she starts to age rapidly. And in order to pay to get her beauty back, she ends up robbing the man that she fell in love with, and she ends up killing him because he walks in on her robbing him. Mm-hmm. And because she committed the crime, she can't go back to her old self, or she'll be identified and then sent to jail. Mm-hmm. And possibly even executed. If that had been the twist, I really would have liked the episode. And that more or less was kind of the twist. But there's also, like, I think the episode's about 3 or 4 minutes too long, because after that moment, she steals the mask, gets bumped into on the street, and then drops the mask and it crumbles. So really, she can't go back because there's no mask to get her beauty back. I would have liked it better if she just couldn't go back because she would have been arrested. That would have been more interesting to me. So I didn't really like the twist. The episode I thought was decent. It was kind of a fun episode. I did like the chemistry between Sylvia and her love interest, Mr. Price. Remember his name? Something Price.
Ronnie Price.
Ronnie Price. Okay. Yeah. Anything else that you wanted to talk about in this episode that we left out the first time through?
No, I enjoyed the episode. It was very simple as well. I like how the twist is that she tries to, like, she can't go back to her beautiful self because she would get arrested. And, you know, it was weird because, like, when she got the bust over, like, how would she get her beauty back? You know, like that did kind of make me question, like, what would she have done to, like, reverse it in any way, right? Because all she knows that it's kind of in that vessel, but what's the next step?
Right, yeah. Some of the voodoo magic wasn't really explained very well, was it?
So even if she got the bust back, even if she were to buy it back, like, we really don't know what happened.
How did the pawn shop how did the pawn shop owner do what he did? Like, I think that's your episode. Right, follow the pawn shop person and his voodoo magic that he's doing. Like how does that work? Like that's what I want to learn more about.
Or like he does it so much to all of the women that somehow it happens to him or something similar, because technically he's the bad guy. Like it's not her. Like I guess like she just kind of stumbled upon like some crazy voodoo magic that she wasn't really part of because she just wanted money.
Yeah,
she didn't want. Yeah. That
brings us to Lover Come Hack to Me, which was episode 5. And this is the one where he marries her because she's wealthy and basically he's the gold digger. Mm-hmm. But the twist is that she, like her mother, marries a man, gets pregnant, and then kills that man on the wedding night. That's the whole premise on that one. And this episode, I got to tell you, I think the best part of this episode is maybe the atmosphere, because it's kind of like a ghostly haunted house kind of atmosphere, which I like, but it gets overdone because they're always in it. There's never really any change in scenery. So there's just a lot of bad with this episode. The twist comes out of nowhere. It's at the very, very end. It's a very like redundant story. There's just large sex scenes followed by large sex scenes, so I don't like it that much. I hate to be kind of spoilery on how this ranking's gonna go, but I don't know. What did you think about this episode?
So when you mentioned that there's only one good thing, I thought you were gonna mention their acting, because to me that was one of the best moments of the episode, was how, like, you know, I don't know, like B tier, C tier the acting was compared to the previous episodes. So it was really fun. And I agree. Those sex scenes were something else, especially that one long like orgasm they were both having. And it was just like really strained out for like almost a minute.
Yeah, it was very awkward. It's very awkward. And we have a comment. We have a comment here from E-Chair. Our friend here tells us again, it felt strange that she killed her husband without any certainty that she was pregnant. Do you think that she really knew she was pregnant, or she was just hoping she was pregnant?
A woman knows. I think she knew.
Yeah, if we accept the premise of the episode, she just knows, I suppose.
She says, yeah.
And given that her mother said the same thing when she was born, it tells me that maybe that is kind of what's going on. Ichar goes on to say, this is definitely an episode you should not watch with your family. Not that Tales from the Crypt is a family-friendly show typically, but with this one especially, I'd rather watch people be murdered and slaughtered with my family in a movie than a bunch of these prolonged sex scenes. So I definitely agree. So episode 6, the final episode of the season, collection completed. This is the one where, oh gosh, what's his name? Jonas retires and he goes to live at home, and he discovers how much his wife loves animals. And throughout the episode, she's constantly treating Jonas as an animal while at the same time treating all the animals as if they're humans. She's cooking breakfast for the animals. She gives the animals little treats, and she just treats them so well, but she's always treating Jonas like an animal, and he just has enough of it. So he starts stuffing all of her precious, wonderful, lovely animals, and she can't have it. So she kills him and stuffs him. And that's the twist on that one. And I like this episode a lot. I loved how slapstick all the acting was. All the actors were on point. They knew exactly what they were recording. Nobody was trying to take it seriously. They were all just having fun with it. It was a fun premise. It takes just the regular cat lady to an extreme, which is, I think a cat lady type person is somebody we can all relate to. So it's fun to see that type of dynamic in an episode like this. It was a tight episode. The comedy was on point. Every scene was funny and entertaining. So I liked it a lot. Anything that you want to add that you really liked about the episode?
Yeah, it's really fun. I definitely love the dialogue between the wife and the husband, and how he's just so disgruntled and just grumpy until he eventually found his hobby. I do enjoy that his neighbor was pushing him into some sort of modeling, and he ends up being in that kind of field. Like it technically is kind of a modeling thing because of the bones. He has to reposition and all that stuff. So everything just ties in neatly. Yeah, honestly, I like how it comes to be.
Yeah, you mentioned that too with the modeling the first time through. That's definitely something I did not pick up on the first time through. So I'm glad that you noticed that. I do wish the twist started a little earlier. Maybe have Jonas start his taxidermy thing sooner in the episode, and have more of the episode be maybe him stalking and prowling some of the animals. That could have heightened the tension, I think, in the episode. It did feel up until the twist, it felt like a very sitcom-y, kind of a funny episode, and it would have been nice to kind of have maybe more tension throughout. But it's a small thing that I would have liked to have added, but altogether it was a great episode. So Godden, let's get to our actual official ranking of these. So I'm actually gonna I'll go through it first. I'll give my ranking. I'm gonna start with number 6. My least favorite episode, without a doubt, Lover Come Hack to Me. That episode was just it's just a lot to get through. It's a lot of just very, very boring, long, drawn out scenes I'm not interested in. The character acting, yeah, I guess it's kind of funny, but I don't like the characters. So it's not fun for me to watch. I would not want to watch this episode again. Number 5, I'm going to say we'll go to Only Sin Deep. That episode was decent. I'll watch it again if somebody wants to, but it's not very scary. It's mostly just the twist that is interesting. And even the twist, I think, like I said, went on like a minute or two too long. But that moment that I had, that oh damn moment, it kept going, and then I was confused. Like, okay, is she really going to use the mask? Is it like that would have been a good twist too? Even though she knew she would be arrested, what if she used the mask anyway, got her beauty back, and then was arrested? That would have been a decent twist too. So
that would have been nice,
they could have went that way. So the way they went with it being crushed, I feel like that really took the wind out of the sails. All right, that brings us to fourth place. I'm gonna give to The Man Who Was Death, which was the season premiere, and that was a good episode. I would watch that one again as well. I don't have much more to say about that other than it gets the 4th place. That brings us to top 3. It's the best of the bottom half, I suppose.
There you go.
Number 3, I'm going to give this to Collection Completed. This was a great episode. A lot of fun. I would definitely be willing to watch this one again on my own. Funny, very funny episode. I like all the characters. All the character acting was very, very fun to watch. So that's a very good episode as well. That brings us to top 2. Number 2, I'm going to give to Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone, for probably having one of the best premises and best twists of the entire franchise. This is a very, very big heavy hitter of the season. Excellent premise, very memorable premise, and very memorable and impactful twist on me as a child. It's always stuck with me as being a really, really dark twist to the episode. And that brings us to number 1, which only leaves one left. And there you have it. All Through the House, probably my favorite episode of the entire franchise, although we'll see. I haven't watched the entire franchise yet. I'm looking forward to finishing it with you on our journey, but there's my ranking, All Through the House. Nearly a flawless episode. I can't think of anything else that I'd like to have improved by it. I love slasher movies, so this is right up my alley. Love me some Halloween, some Friday the 13th, some Nightmare on Elm Street, and yes, even Silent Night, Deadly Night. So that kind of wraps everything all up into one. It's basically the finale of a very good slasher movie. So it's the best part of the slasher movie, which is my favorite genre. So this is definitely my favorite episode of the season. All right, Godden, run us through your number 6 and then just keep going from there.
Okay. My ranking is not based on like what I think is good. It's just more like what I enjoyed more. So so this might throw off some numbers. But for number 6, I will put The Man Was Death, only because it didn't really like grab me as a viewer, or as one of their main viewers. So I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like a go-to for me. For number 5, it would be Lover Come Hack to Me, only because I do agree with that. Just drawn out like sex scenes, like it was just not really necessary. They could have cut that short. Realistically, they didn't have to go on and on about it. And for number 4, I do enjoy Only Sin Deep. And I, when you mentioned your version of the twist, I'm like, I kind of like the twist where she becomes more vain than her, just like losing the option of getting her beauty back somehow. Like I do like that more. Like, yeah, she just goes to jail because of it. For number 3, I will put Ulrich, Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone, because this top 3 is really hard for me, honestly. Like it's so easy to get the bottom half like out of the way, but the top 3, yeah, like it gets to jumble around a lot. But yeah, honestly, this top 3 of mine, I'd watch over and over again, regardless of like my scores to them. And then All Through the House is a really strong episode, but it is going to go as my number 2, only because I just love Collection Complete the most out of this whole season, and it takes my top 1 easily. Even though, yeah, All Through the House is probably the better episode, like 100%. It's just like, I just have to put it number 2.
Right. And yeah, these rankings aren't necessarily, even like what you said, because you gave All Through the House a 5, and Collection Completed, you gave it a 4.5?
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah.
But even still, like you can recognize that, All Through the House you think is a better episode, but you just enjoy watching Collection Completed more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point too, because I did give All Through the House and Dig That Cat both a 5, and I still think that All Through the House is a better episode. I enjoy watching that a lot more. Basically, from the season, if I had a friend of mine who just never watched Tales from the Crypt, and I don't want to go through the time of watching every single episode, I would probably just watch All Through the House, Dig That Cat, and then Collection Completed, and then we would move on. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily even show him the opening episode, The Man Who Was Death.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But for me, though, I still enjoy these episodes. With the exception of Lover Come Hack to Me. There's something that I enjoy about all the episodes, except for the. Although I am surprised to see you give The Man Who Was Death a 6th place. I'm surprised to see you give it last.
Yeah, like I said, it has nothing to do with the quality of the episode. It's just more so like how I enjoyed it, right? Like Glover Come Hack to Me is a little bit more stale compared to The Man Who Was Death, but I thoroughly enjoyed how the acting was and how he hated his wife. But yeah, if it had not had those sex scenes, it probably would have been more higher up. And if it was more polished, maybe if it had went through more work, I think it would have been higher. But for what it was. I just enjoy like the I just love the acting between the two. It's just so funny to me.
Oh, there you have it. All right. So that was our ranking of season 1. Altogether, very strong season. I would absolutely recommend watching season 1. It's also very short, like we talked about, so it's relatively quick to get through. But there you have it. There's our season 1 ranking. Leave a comment and let us know what your ranking is. I'd love to hear from other people and their countdown. It's only 6 episodes, so it's not that hard to rank. Going forward, our next episode is going to be episode 1 of season 2, Dead Right, starring, drumroll please, Demi Moore. Demi Moore is in episode 1 of season 2, so I'm looking forward to watching that and talking about it with you next week, Godden. If you want to follow along with us, watch the episode before next week and send us your comments and thoughts, and we'll share those on the podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care of yourselves. All right, kiddies. Goodbye.
How was that for a scream, boys and ghouls?